before we get into specifics, can you tell me a bit about your agency? What is it that you do?
Yes, we are a governmental agency which underlies the Ministry of Culture and Equality. They provide our fundings, but we are independent, so they cannot instruct us in how we do our tasks. So our main goal is to promote equality and combat discrimination based on all the grounds that are protected by the law, such as gender, but also religion, ethnicity, age, sexual orientation. One of the important tasks that we do is that we provide legal advice free of charge to all individuals, employers, and organizations that contact us about the discrimination cases. And we receive a large amount of discrimination cases, and I think half of the cases concern discrimination in the labor market. And one of the topics that we receive most cases in is discrimination based on pregnancy and parental leave. And this is quite interesting since we have a very strong regulation on that one.
Now, we know that guaranteeing equal rights and opportunities for men and women in all spheres of life, as well as preventing discrimination, often starts with legislation. So what would you say are the legal cornerstones in Norway that promote gender equality in the labor market?
I think I will mention like 4 legal cornerstones. First of all, we have a very strong regulation on discrimination based on pregnancy and parental leave, and this is very crucial for women attending work. And we also have, in Norway, we have a very good daycare center, and we have also very good, women and men have paid parental leave, which is very important, and it's comparing with other countries, it's very good in Norway. I think we get 49 weeks with full paid. And the next thing I want to mention is that we have the Ombud, which I said can give free legal guidance. And we also have the Anti-Discrimination Tribunal, which handle cases of discrimination free of charge. And that's very important because a lot of those who are exposed to discrimination in working life are not member of trade unions, and it's important that they can get free legal advice and that they don't have to go to the court to get the cases, to handle cases. The fourth and last thing I want to mention is the activity and reporting duty for employers to work actively and structurally to prevent discrimination and promote equality at the workplace, because that places the responsibilities where it should be, at the workplace.
So it sounds like the activity and reporting duty can help us to address a variety of barriers that hold people back from decent work, including sexual harassment. So what exactly do we know about sexual harassment in Norway?
We know that sexual harassment is still a huge problem in the labor market, and statistics shows that 4.7% states that they are being exposed to sexual harassment once a month or more. We also know that women are more exposed to sexual harassment than men, and we also know something about the employers. If you are much in contact with clients and customers, you are more exposed than others because you can be exposed from colleagues but also from clients. And what we see in the cases the individual cases that we receive is that the ones who report about sexual harassment, they are often ending up with quitting their jobs. So what we do is that it's important to learn employers about the rights and how they can prevent sexual harassment at the workplace. In most cases, it ends up with bad results for both of the parties.
So how would you say your office works to prevent sexual harassment more broadly?
As I mentioned, we give free legal advices in individual cases, but we also get a lot of requests from employers, or trade unions and organizations on who wants to learn about how they can prevent sexual harassment. So we give a lot of lecture and work at the concept Train the Trainers. We also have a very close cooperation with the Labor Inspection Authority, which is very important in this field because we have an overlapping framework in the labor law and the Equality Act, and we have established cooperation with, for example, the police and the Norwegian armed forces.
So how long has your office been working on this issue?
We have been working with these issues a long time before Me Too. I think it started in 2014 when we were out training employers on how to prevent. On the discrimination cases, we heard a lot of stories, and we thought that there are a lot of dark numbers in sexual harassment.
Who are the most important stakeholders in this work, and how do you cooperate?
As I mentioned, I think that we think that the cooperation with the Labor Inspection Authorities is very important in this field. So we started to work close with them, and we found out that it's very important that we have a common understanding on what sexual harassment is, and that we give equal guidance to people, to employers. And what we have done, which I want to mention, is that we have developed a digital guideline on how to prevent sexual harassment, and we have also given trainings on this team together. So I think that gives more empowerment in the work.
So sort of to finish, what would you say are some of the most valuable tools that we have in the fight against sexual harassment?
I think that this guideline that we have developed, how to draw a line against sexual harassment, is a very good tool, and it's easy to work on. We recommend six steps, 6 measures on how to prevent it. And that's, first of all, we think it's important to do a risk evaluation at the workplace. When does sexual harassment occurs, in which situation, and which factors increase sexual harassment. That's one thing which is important to do. And secondly, we also recommend rules for acceptable behavior, and to make those rules, it's important to talk about. We have different boundaries, so to find a common understanding of what this is, and to talk about it together. So, and of course, it's important to have clear routines on how to handle cases, so you are prepared and know how to handle it when it occurs at the office. To succeed in preventing sexual harassment, it's very important to have this clear zero tolerance against harassment, and to have clear responsibility. The manager's role is very important. If you don't have a manager who clearly states that sexual harassment is not allowed, it's more difficult to work with these issues. And we also stress to talk about these issues. And we know that it can be quite difficult to talk about sexual harassment, so we have actually developed a device. It's like a Kahoot with 12 questions that you can discuss at the workplace. And if I can say at the end, what's good about this tool is that we made it for the hotel and restaurant industry, but it's transferable to other workplaces as well. And this is actually the basis for all the trainings that we do, both in the police or the Norwegian army forces, and we are now going to start a cooperation in the fish industry. So it's basically it's based on the 6 measures that we recommend. So
it's a very good starting point.
Yeah, and we actually also have a cooperation, EU cooperation with Portugal. They also want to develop the same.
Their own sort of version of this.
Yeah.
But when you mention all of these different types of cooperations, like I hear you say that, you know, you have these guidelines and you talk to people, but how does that start? Like, do you go to them or do they come to you, or is it sort of a bit of both?
It's a bit of both. The huge cooperation we had with the Norwegian Army Force, in that case they came to us because we had conversation with the Norwegian Army a long time back. They had done some research on who are exposed to sexual harassment in the Norwegian Army, and they asked very clear questions, not have you been exposed to sexual harassment? Instead, they chose to ask, have you got sexual comments about your body, or have you been sexually abused? And then they got a whole another
right, because I guess people
results.
don't always identify their experience as sexual harassment.
They don't have the knowledge about what is actually sexual harassment. So they were really shocked about the results of this research. So they wanted to contact us, and they needed help. So then we found out that we wanted to do this like a project with them. So I think that year in 2020, I thought that I was working in the Norwegian Army and not at the LDO, because we did so much training with them. Both we trained all the leaders on the 14 departments in the Norwegian Army. So I know that they use this still, and we did train the trainers for them. So I know that now they give the same training to the new people who come to the Norwegian Army Force.